Hello everyone, welcome to online classes of electrical machines 1 subject. So today's class I'll be dealing with the following topics. What is a DC motor? The operating principle or working principle of a DC motor. Fleming's left hand rule, construction, back EMF or counter EMF in a DC motor. Then back EMF as a regulating mechanism or a significance of back EMF. Then at last we will be seeing the relation between mechanical power, supply voltage and back EMF. So previous classes we have seen the equivalent circuit of a DC motor, and also we have seen the characteristics of various types of DC motors. So let us start our topic. What is a DC motor? An electric motor which is operated by a direct current is known as a DC motor. So this is the block diagram of a DC motor, where we can see that input is the electrical energy given to the motor, and output we are getting the mechanical energy. Okay, voltage and current are related with the input, whereas at the output we are going to see the torque and speed. So DC motor converts DC electrical energy into mechanical energy, and whenever a current carrying conductor is placed in a magnetic field, it experiences a force or torque, and it has a tendency to move or tendency to rotate. Okay, so DC motor is a machine which converts electrical energy into mechanical energy, and that electrical energy which it is converting is a DC one. Okay, because it is a DC motor. So DC motor will convert DC electrical energy into mechanical energy. Or in other words, we can say it like this, that when a magnetic field and an electric field interact, a mechanical force is produced. So instead of saying like this, that when a current carrying conductor is placed in magnetic field, it experiences a torque and it will move or it will rotate. Or we can say it like this, that when a magnetic field and an electric field interact, a mechanical force will be developed, and the DC motor or direct current motor will work on the principle. Okay, this is called as motoring action. What is motoring action? When we see the construction of a DC machine, that is whether it is a generator or motor, it will be same. Now, to the armature winding, we are applying the input voltage, and when this current carrying conductor, or in this entire thing of armature, we are naming this as a conductor here. So this entire thing is armature, and these are the north and south poles of a magnet. So inside this magnetic field, this armature is put, and supply is given to the armature. So when a current carrying conductor is placed in a magnetic field, it experiences a mechanical force. This is called as motoring action. So let us see the working principle of a DC motor, or principle of operation of a DC motor. So we can say it in a single statement as, when a current carrying conductor is placed in magnetic field, it experiences a mechanical force whose direction is given by Fleming's left hand rule, and magnitude is given as F is equal to BIL. Okay. So motor is a device which converts direct current into mechanical work, and it works on the principle of Lorentz law, which states that current carrying conductor placed in magnetic field and electric field will experience a force. The experienced force is called as Lorentz force, and the direction of the force is given by Fleming's left hand rule. Let us first see the Fleming's left hand rule. We will see the principle of operation only. See here, there are 4 diagrams by which we can understand the operating principle of a DC motor. So in the first diagram, we are considering a conductor placed in a magnetic field. So magnetic field will be produced by a permanent magnet, but in practical DC motor, it will be produced by a field winding when it carries a current. That is, in a practical DC motor, it is produced by a electromagnet. So this conductor will be excited by a separate supply. so that it carries a current in a particular direction. So let us consider that it is carrying a current away from the observer. So that one we are seeing in this figure 2. That is flux produced by current carrying conductor. So this is a assumed direction of current which is carried by the conductor. So we are considering a single conductor placed in a magnetic field, and magnetic field will produce uh, uh, its current, and this current is in a particular direction. Let us consider that it is away from the observer. Any current carrying conductor will produce its own magnetic field around it, and hence this conductor will also produce its own magnetic field. So direction of field can be determined by right hand thumb rule. And for direction of current, consider the direction of flux around a conductor will be clockwise. So now there are two fluxes present here. Two fluxes are present here. One is the flux produced by the permanent magnet, which is called as main flux, and second flux is produced by the current carrying conductor. So this diagram is showing this first diagram is showing the interaction of two fluxes. So at one side both the fluxes are in the same direction. So left hand side there will be gathering of fluxes or addition of fluxes, and right hand side cancellation of fluxes is there here. Okay, first this one is the direction of main flux, and this is the direction of the flux, the flow force experienced by the conductor, okay, current carrying conductor, and these two fluxes are interacting with each other, and addition of fluxes is taking place on the left hand side, cancellation of fluxes on the right hand side. So flux distribution around the conductor will act like a stretched rubber band under tension. So left hand side we can see that more flux is there, and right hand side less flux is there. Weakening of flux, gathering of flux is there here, and this is the direction of force. Force will be exerted on the conductor. Mechanical force will be exerted on the conductor, which acts from high flux density area towards the low flux density area. That is from left to right in this case, as shown in the figure, like this. From left to right, force will be exerted. Now this is the direction of the force experienced by conductor. So we have considered the case first one for our explanation, that is direction of current away from the observer, like that. And this is south and north pole, and this is direction of current towards the observer, away and towards, but the direction of main flux will be reversed here. So accordingly force direction will be changing, and how we are giving the current to the armature. See, I hope this is clear to everyone. What we are doing here, first diagram is showing a conductor placed in a magnetic field, and this is the main flux produced by the machine, that is between north and south poles. Flux will be produced, and in that flux conductor is placed. Second diagram is showing we are giving the current to the armature conductor, and flux will be produced, and the direction of current is away from the observer, and accordingly the direction of flux will be in the clockwise direction. And this diagram is showing a current carrying conductor and flux produced by the current carrying conductor. And in third diagram what we are doing, we are placing the current carrying conductor in a magnetic field. So force will be experienced by that, because gathering of the fluxes or addition of the fluxes will be taking place on left hand side, and the weakening of fluxes or cancellation of fluxes on right hand side, and it is acting like a stretched rubber band, and the force will be exerted on the conductor from left to right, and hence torque will be produced, and the motor will start moving. I hope this is clear to everyone. Now let us see the Fleming's left hand rule. Direction of rotation of the motor is given by Fleming's left hand rule, which states that if index finger, middle finger and thumb of left hand are extended mutually perpendicular to each other, and if index finger is representing the direction of magnetic field, middle finger direction of current, then thumb represents the direction of force which is experienced by the shaft of the DC motor. So we can understand from this diagram. So what we can see here, when you stretch the thumb, forefinger and middle finger of left hand in such a way that all three are perpendicular, mutually perpendicular to each other, that is at 90 degrees from each other. So index finger represents the direction of magnetic field. Index finger or forefinger is representing the direction of magnetic field. Middle finger represents the direction of current. Thumb represents the direction of force. Okay, same thing here. I am showing in another way. Now, thumb, middle finger and index finger are displaced from each other by an angle of 90 degrees. Middle finger represents direction of magnetic field. Of index finger, direction of current. Thumb shows the direction of force acting on the conductor, and the formula which calculates the magnitude of force is F is equal to BIL, newtons. And what is B here? B is the flux density due to the flux produced by the field winding. I is the magnitude of current passing through the conductor. L is the active length of the conductor. And it is expressed, the unit of force is newtons. Let us see the construction. Already construction of a DC generator I have said in the third unit. So we will just put a light on this. So construction of a DC machine, whether it is a motor or generator, is same. So armature and stator are the two main parts of a DC motor. Armature is the rotating part and stator is the stationary part. Armature coil will be connected to the DC supply. See in this diagram, we can see F1, F2 are the field windings which are coming out, and DC supply is given to this. And outer part is the yoke, and this is the flux produced by the field winding, the dotted lines. Then there are pole core and pole shoe. Pole core is the one on which the field winding is wound, and pole shoe will increase the amount of magnetic flux which is getting produced. And here inside is placed is the armature. Entire thing is called as armature. Then in that we are having armature tooth, armature slot, armature winding, armature core. Okay, and conductors are placed inside the armature slots. And so this is a commutator and brushes, and this is the shaft. When the shaft is moved with the help of a prime mover, mechanical is getting converted into electrical energy, that is the operation of a DC motor generator. Then current carrying conductor is placed in magnetic field, it experiences a mechanical force, then that is the operation of a DC motor. So construction wise both generator and motor are same. Armature coil consists of commutators and brushes, and commutators will convert AC induced in the armature into DC, and brushes will transfer the current from the rotating part of the motor to the stationary external load. An armature will be placed between north and south pole of the permanent magnet or electromagnet. So let us see very important concept, that is back EMF or counter EMF in a DC motor. So when a current carrying conductor placed in a magnetic field, torque will induce on the conductor and torque will rotate the conductor, which will cut the magnetic field. So according to electromagnetic induction phenomenon, whenever the conductor cuts the magnetic field, EMF induces in the conductor. Now, Fleming's right hand rule determines the direction of induced EMF. That is, Fleming's right hand rule means what? It is for the generator. That is, according to Fleming's right hand rule, if we hold our thumb, middle finger and index finger of right hand by an angle of 90 degrees, then index finger represents direction of magnetic field. Thumb will show the direction of motion of conductor. Middle finger represents the EMF induced in the conductor. That is, after motoring action, generating action is taking place inside the DC motor. So what is that? So motor converts electrical to mechanical. Okay, that is motoring action. Now the armature is cutting the flux. Armature is cutting the flux and producing the EMF. That is generating action. So EMF which is generated because of generating action inside the DC motor is called as back EMF or counter EMF. So in a DC motor, after motoring action, there exists a generating action. That is, when the armature of DC motor rotates under the influence of driving torque, armature conductors will move through the magnetic field, and hence, according to Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, EMF will be induced in them as in the case of a generator. So induced EMF will act in the opposite direction to the applied voltage according to Lenz's law, and it is known as back EMF or counter EMF. It is denoted by EB, E suffix B. On applying the right hand rule in the figure as shown below, it is seen that direction of induced EMF is opposite to the applied voltage. So EMF is called as counter EMF or back EMF. Back EMF is developed in series with applied voltage but opposite in direction. That is, back EMF will oppose the current which causes it. This is according to Lenz's law. The magnitude of back EMF is given by same expression as the EMF generated in a generator, that is P5 Zn by 60A, where EB is the EMF induced in the motor, which is called as back EMF. A is the number of parallel paths to the armature between the brushes of opposite polarity. P is the number of poles. N is the speed in RPM. Z is the total number of conductors in the armature, and phi is the useful flux per pole. So according to Lenz's law, direction of induced EMF is such that it opposes the cause which is producing it. So back EMF is denoted as EB, and it will get generated by generating action. So its magnitude is determined by the equation EB is equal to P5 Zn by 60A. EB is always less than applied voltage, although this difference is small when the motor is running under the normal conditions. So let us consider a simple conventional circuit diagram of a machine working as a motor as shown in the figure. So in this case, magnitude of the back EMF is always less than the applied voltage. Difference between the two is nearly equal when the motor runs under normal conditions. The current induces on the motor because of the main supply, and relationship between the main supply back EMF armature is given as EB is equal to V minus IaRa. So we are considering here EB is equal to V minus IaRa, or we can write voltage equation for a DC motor as V is equal to EB plus IaRa. So we have considered a shunt wound motor. When DC voltage V is applied across the motor terminals, field magnets will be excited and armature conductors will be supplied with current. So driving torque will act on the armature, which will begin to rotate the motor. As the armature rotates, back EMF EB will be induced, which opposes the applied voltage V. Applied voltage has to force current through the armature against the back EMF EB. So electric work done in overcoming and causing the current to flow against EB is converted into mechanical energy developed in the armature. So energy conversion in a DC motor is only possible due to the production of back EMF. So net voltage across armature circuit is given as V minus EB. RA is the armature circuit resistance, then IA will be equal to V minus EB by RA. So let us see the advantages of back EMF in a DC motor. First advantage is that back EMF will oppose the supply voltage. Supply voltage induces the current in the coil, which will rotate the armature. Electric work required by the motor for causing the current against the back EMF is converted into mechanical energy, and this mechanical energy will be induced in the armature of the motor. So we can say that energy conversion in a DC motor is possible only because of back EMF. Mechanical energy induced in the motor is the product of back EMF and armature current, that is EBIA. Second advantage of back EMF is that back EMF makes the DC motor a self-regulating machine. That is, back EMF develops the armature current according to the need of the motor. Armature current of the motor is given as IA is equal to, or I is equal to V minus EB by RA. Now, let us see the significance of back EMF or back EMF as a regulating mechanism. So, presence of back EMF makes the DC motor as a self-regulating machine. That is, it makes the motor to draw as much armature current as it just sufficient to develop the torque required by the load. So, armature current is given as V minus EB by RA. So, there are three conditions here. That is, when motor is running on no load, and when motor is suddenly loaded, and the load on the motor is decreased. Let us see the first one. So consider a motor which is running at no load condition. At no load, DC motor requires small torque for controlling the friction and windage losses, and motor will withdraw less current. As the back EMF depends on the current, their value will also decreases. Magnitude of back EMF is nearly equal to the supply voltage. So whenever the motor is running on no load, small torque is required to overcome the friction and windage losses. Therefore, the armature current IA is very small and back EMF is nearly equal to applied voltage. Second one, if the sudden load is applied to the motor will become slow. So as the speed of the motor decreases, magnitude of the back EMF will also fall down. Small back EMF will withdraw heavy current from the supply, and large armature current will induce the large torque in the armature, which is the need of the motor. So motor will move continuously at a new speed. That is, if the motor is suddenly loaded, the first effect is to cause the armature to slow down. Therefore, speed at which the armature conductors move through the field will be reduced, and hence back EMF will also fall down. So, decreased back EMF will allow the larger current to flow through the armature, and larger current will mean increased driving torque. Third point is, if the load on the motor is decreased or reduced, the driving torque on the motor will be more than the load torque. Driving torque will increase the speed of the motor, which will also increase the back EMF. High value of back EMF will decrease the armature current. Small magnitude of armature current will develop less driving torque, which is equal to load torque. And the motor will rotate uniformly at the new speed. That is, if the load on the motor is suddenly decreased, uh, and the driving torque will be momentary in excess of the requirement, so that armature is accelerated. As the armature speed increases, back EMF EB also increases and causes the armature current IA to decrease. Motor will stop accelerating when the armature current is just sufficient to produce reduced torque required by the load. So in this way, back EMF is acting as a regulating mechanism. Now let us see the relationship between mechanical power, supply voltage and back EMF. So we know the equation for voltage or back EMF equation, EB is equal to Vt minus IaRa, as we have considered the shunt motor. So Vt will be the terminal voltage, Ra is the armature resistance, Ia is the armature current, EB is the back EMF here. So we can write V is equal to EB plus IaRa, or EB is equal to V minus IaRa. Okay, anything is okay. So multiplying this above equation by Ia throughout, that is on left hand side and right hand side. So we will get the equation as EBIA is equal to VIA minus IA square RA. VIA is equal to EBIA plus IA square RA, and VIA is equal to electric power supplied to the armature, that is armature input. EBIA is the power developed by armature output. IA square RA is the electric power wasted in the armature, that is armature copper loss. So we are getting an equation PM is equal to VIA minus IA square RA. So differentiating the above equation with respect to IA and equating it to 0, then we will get the condition for maximum power. So mechanical power developed by the motor is PM is EBIA. Now PM is equal to VIA minus IA square RA. So differentiate PM with respect to IA and equate it to 0. So dPM by dIA is equal to V minus 2IARA, and that is equal to 0. So VIA minus 2IARA is equal to 0, or V is equal to 2IARA. See students, this V should not come if we are differentiating now. After differentiation, IA should not come. So V minus 2IARA is equal to 0, or V is equal to 2IARA. V by 2 is equal to IARA. So from the back EMF equation, we will get V is equal to EB plus IARA. So in this equation, substitute the value of IARA. IARA is V by 2, we got it. So V is equal to now EB plus V by 2, or V minus V by 2. V by 2 we are taking it to left hand side. So V minus V by 2 is EB, or EB is equal to V by 2. So this equation that EB equal to V by 2 shows that maximum power will be developed in the motor when the back EMF is equal to half of the supply voltage. So mechanical power developed by the motor is maximum whenever the back EMF is equal to half of the applied voltage. Thank you everyone for watching the video. I hope today's class is clear to everyone. So in today's class we have seen these topics, that is what is a DC motor, what is the operating principle of a DC motor, what is Fleming's left hand rule, what is the construction, what are the various parts of a DC motor, back EMF or counter EMF we have seen. Then we have seen the significance of back EMF or back EMF as a regulating mechanism. Then we have seen the condition for maximum power in a DC motor, and which is also giving us a relationship between mechanical power, supply voltage and back EMF. So these are the contents of this video, today's video. So what is a DC motor? DC motor is a machine which converts electrical energy into mechanical energy. And the operating principle of DC motor is that whenever a current carrying conductor is placed in magnetic field, it experiences a mechanical force. Okay, and the direction of this force is given by Fleming's left hand rule, and the magnitude is given as F is equal to BIL newtons. So in a generator, the input mechanical energy will be supplied by a prime mover, while in a DC motor, input electrical energy is supplied by a DC supply. Construction of a DC machine is same whether it is a motor or a generator. So principle of operation of DC motor can be stated in a single statement as when a current carrying conductor is placed in magnetic field, it experiences a mechanical force whose direction is given by Fleming's left hand rule and magnitude is given as F is equal to BIL newtons, where B is the flux density due to the flux produced by the field winding, I is the magnitude of current passing through the conductor, L is the active length of the conductor. And when we see the Fleming's left hand rule, the rule states that when you outstretch the three fingers of left hand, namely forefinger, middle finger and thumb, such that they are mutually perpendicular to each other, then forefinger points the direction of magnetic field, middle finger the direction of current, and thumb gives the direction of force experienced by the conductor. In a practical DC motor, field winding will produce a required magnetic field, while armature conductors play the role of a current carrying conductors. So armature conductors experience a force. As conductors are placed in the slots which are on the periphery, individual force experienced by the conductors will act as a twisting or turning force on the armature, which is called as torque. Torque is the product of force and the radius at which this force acts. So overall armature will experience a torque and starts rotating. Then we have seen through diagrams, we have seen how a DC motor works. So there are four diagrams here. First diagram is showing a conductor placed in a magnetic field and showing the direction of the main flux. Second diagram is showing the flux produced by the current carrying conductor. Away from the observer is the direction of current, and according to that direction of current, this is the direction of flux, that is in the clockwise direction. And third diagram is showing the current carrying conductor placed in the magnetic field. Left hand side we can see addition of fluxes, right hand side cancellation of fluxes. So gathering of fluxes, left hand side will create a high flux density area, and the beginning of flux on the right hand side will create a low flux density area, and it will act like a stretched rubber band, and the conductor will move from left to right. Force will be exerted on the conductor, and all these forces, uh, all the conductors placed in the slots will experience the force individually and act as a twisting or turning force on the armature, which is called as torque. So torque will be produced by the conductors and motor will start rotating. So these are the various direction of force experienced by the conductor. Four ways we can connect, the conductor can experience the force. When we see the construction, there are two main parts, that is stationary part called as stator and rotating part called as rotor. Okay, and the outer part is called as yoke, which is giving the mechanical strength to the machine. And here poles will be created, that is electromagnetic poles will be created here, north south, all these are opposite poles beside, north and south will be beside each other, and south north south, opposite poles will be there here. And this is the pole core on which the field winding is wound. And next, inside this magnetic field, here armature will be placed, and inside the armature commutator will be placed, and these are the brushes, and this is the shaft. Armature will consist of armature slot, armature tooth, armature winding, armature core. Okay. So armature consists of commutators and brushes. Commutators will convert AC to DC. It is a mechanical rectifier. Armature will be placed between the north and south pole of the permanent magnet or electromagnet. And when a current carrying conductor is placed in magnetic field, torque will be induced on the conductor, and torque will rotate the conductor, which will cut the flux of the magnetic field. and this direction of back EMF is given by the direction of induced EMF or the direction of back EMF is given by Fleming's right hand rule. So what is Fleming's right hand rule? This is applicable for generators. Okay, right hand rule for generators, students, and left hand rule for motors. So right hand rule states that if you hold thumb for middle finger and index finger of right hand in such a way that all three are mutually perpendicular to each other, then index finger represents the direction of magnetic field, thumb shows the direction of motion of conductor, and middle finger represents the EMF induced in the conductor. So on applying the right hand rule in the as shown in the figure, it can be seen that the direction of induced EMF is opposite to the applied voltage. So the EMF is called as counter EMF or back EMF. Back EMF is developed in series with the applied voltage but opposite in direction. That means what? Back EMF will always oppose the voltage which is causing it to produce. Applied voltage. Back EMF will always oppose the applied voltage according to Lenz's law. The magnitude of back EMF is given as the expression EB is equal to P5Zn by 60A. That is the same as the EMF generated in a generator, where EB is the EMF induced in the motor which is called as back EMF or counter EMF. A is the number of parallel paths to the armature between the brushes of opposite polarity. P is the number of poles. N is the speed. Z is the total number of conductors in the armature, and phi is the useful flux per pole. So we have now seen the advantages of back EMF, and we have seen how back EMF acts as a regulating mechanism, or what is the significance of back EMF. So whenever motor is running on no load or suddenly it is loaded or running at light load, what is happening, how it is taking the current from the supply, that we have seen it. Okay, according to the type of load, the motor is drawing the current from the supply, and this is all happening because of back EMF or counter EMF. Then we have seen the relationship between the mechanical power, supply voltage and back EMF. EB is equal to V minus IARA is the expression for back EMF. Multiplying this equation by IA, so it will become EB IA is equal to VIA minus IA square RA, or EB IA can be written as PM. PM is equal to VIA minus IA square RA. So see students, here in place of IA square it is written as 2IA. Okay, so this is IA square RA, students. Please note down this one, IA square RA. Now differentiate this PM with respect to IA and equate it to 0. So we will get V minus 2 IA RA equal to 0, or V equal to 2 IA RA, or IA RA is V by 2. So substituting the value of IA RA as V by 2 in the equation V is equal to EB plus IA RA, then we will get EB is V by 2. So what we can say here? That maximum power will be developed in the motor whenever the back EMF is equal to the half of the supply voltage. Thank you students for watching the video. Uh, if you have any doubts, you can ask me. Give your attendance in comment section. Thanks. Thank you everyone.